It's like the Seinfeld. You guys don't know Seinfeld, but
Of course we
the
did.
big salad. You know the big salad episode? Okay.
Used to come on before Friends.
All right. Here we go.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's press conference. I'm here with head coach Troy Taylor. We'll be talking about our National Signing Day signees, and we'll take questions as we do usually. If you're new to this press conference, please make sure to list your name and affiliation for coach before you ask your question. I will take questions as the raise hand feature is used.
Hello. Yeah, really excited about this. I've got, 18 signed players. Don't think we're done. Think we got maybe another one coming, hopefully. Um, Great class. Every player we've signed has been a captain on their football team. They're great students and they're phenomenal athletes. These are guys that we've been recruiting really since we first arrived as a coaching staff. So it's been an almost 2-year process. Really, the way recruiting works is especially at Stanford, is you got to get on them early, make sure they're, most of them have already headed towards in the right direction class-wise, but you also got to help lead them to take the proper classes to give them a chance to be admitted into this fine university. And so it's been a long process, and we're really excited about this group.
John Platts? John, I think you're muted.
Coach, I know you're looking for outstanding athletes at all positions. Was there a position or two focus though this cycle?
It's a pretty well-rounded group. I mean, if you look at it, we signed Bear Bachmeyer at quarterback, who is a phenomenal player, dual threat guy. Couple of wide receivers that we're really excited about. 3 offensive linemen, 2 tight ends. I mean, it's really well-rounded. 2 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and then 4 players in the secondary, 1 corner and 3 safeties, and then a really good kicker in London. So we feel like we did everything we needed to do. We love these guys culturally. Obviously, great leaders and great students and phenomenal athletes. So I'm really excited about all the areas. 2 really good tight ends, and another quarterback to come in and compete that we feel is a really special player. And Liam Thorpe and John Anthony Hall at wide receivers are 2 really good ones. And then the linemen we signed, we feel like they're really talented guys that are going to be good players in the future.
Jackson?
Coach, could you share more about Bear and maybe the opportunity that's in front of him given the recent developments?
Yeah, so you got to love a quarterback that'll choose to wear 47 and play quarterback. So he is, in a lot of ways, a throwback guy that is just, he's a really talented quarterback, super accurate, great anticipation, tough as they come, really good runner, great football aptitude and sense. And he's going to be here mid-year and be able to compete, for that starting job. Obviously, disappointed to lose Ashton, and a great kid, and gave us everything he had. A really tough kid. I love the kid, but excited about our young quarterbacks, and they're very talented and they're hungry for the opportunity. So super excited about Bear, and can't wait to get him here.
Ben?
Yeah, I just kind of want to get your thoughts on with Andrew Luck's kind of new position. Has he had a chance to, introduce himself to recruits yet, or just how has that kind of come along?
Yeah, yes, he's been a part of it. Andrew's just joining us, so he's getting his bearings on. Obviously, knows Stanford really well, and learning our recruits and our roster, and it's been great. He's got a great, obviously. Listen, Andrew's a super sharp guy, but his humility is what kind of separates him, I think, is from all the things he's done. He has great humility. He's confident, but he has great humility, and he's not a high ego guy and ready to work. And he's going to make us better. Love having the addition of him. And yeah, I think, this recruiting cycle was, it's been going on, like I said, for 2 years. So he definitely helped out, at the end, and was impactful. But moving forward, he'll be a massive part of it.
Jackson?
Could you share in what ways he is an asset to you and that position is maybe different than what you've had before?
Yeah, well, I think, in this day and age of college football, um, it's the head coach position. I'm wearing a lot of different hats. And so it's going to be allow me to really focus on the team culture and specifically the offense and driving the offense and as opposed to wearing different hats as basically I was doing the GM stuff. And now with the way, all the things that have occurred in college football, it's very complex. And I am excited about having him come on board and be able to direct our roster and all those things in our football program and have his expertise and mind to use. And I mean, it's a complicated world. It's uncharted territory for college football. So this is all new. So everybody's kind of learning on the run and adjusting. And I can't imagine a better person that we could have that help us negotiate and manage through the different complexities and challenges that college football presents.
John? John, you're on mute again.
Apologies for that. Coach, you talked about complexities and challenges. Stanford's place in the market, a lot of us are sort of bullish on that. It's a unique spot.
Yeah.
Given the environment, is it harder, even though it's in a separate, unique place in the market? Kind of how is your thinking evolved in that?
Yeah, it's a really big question. So yes, we do. We have advantages for sure. And then we have challenges. The advantages are still see ourselves as the best optimal place for a student athlete to have the experience of both, to prepare them for the future beyond, football. When football's done, whether they play 10 years in the NFL or they don't play at all, we think they're uniquely positioned to be prepared to be a citizen and be a leader in whatever field. So that part, we feel we have a huge advantage. The challenges are, college football's changed a lot. So the mid-year players and post-backs and those things are a big part of college football. And that's why teams are able to challenge immediately. A team like Cal has brought in a number of post-backs and a number of new players since January. It would astound you. And you could see they were right there and a chance to compete for the ACC. You see a team like the SMU who's done an extraordinary job in the transfer portal. And so those things, I think Stanford now realizes that we have to be able to compete in that area. Now, we're not going to jeopardize our prestige and the type of students that we bring in, but there are great student athletes out there that want to come in mid-year and play football and get a Stanford degree. And there are post-back opportunities for guys that have graduated and want to come to Stanford or go to the graduate school. And I think I'm feeling like we're going to, for the first time, we've only had one mid-year transfer since I've been here. It was Gathan Bernadelle, and he's been exceptional for us, an exceptional student, exceptional leader. We now have 11 possibilities for mid-year transfers. Okay, so that's an opportunity to, for the first time since I came here, to really be able to change the roster and make it competitive immediately, as opposed to developing through high school student athletes. Stanford will always be heavy in high school recruiting. We feel that best way is to bring them in as high school students, athletes, develop them, create a culture, and see the dividends at the, hopefully at the year 3 and 4. Now, the complexity of college football now is you want to be able to hang on to them after year 3 and 4 because there's so much turbulence and people switching teams. So we want to hang on to those guys. But now, my first year, we lost 13 starters in the transfer portal, and we were not able to fill in really more than one guy. And like I said, Gathan Bernadelle to bring him in. So we played with young guys, especially positions that are crucial, like the offensive line. So now we're going to be able to sign some older guys that are good student athletes and have an immediate impact on our roster for next season, as opposed to, maybe 2 years down the road.
Jackson?
You discussed some of the needs after the final game. Just has that changed at all with the transfer portal developments and Andrew and the signing class? Just
Yeah,
lots in a couple of
yeah.
days.
Good question. I mean, I think, we want to improve our roster at every position for sure. And we have room, I think, to be able to do that. I think the areas that we really need to improve dramatically and get competition is offensive line. And then in the secondary, we need to get some depth and competition. I mean, there were a point in our last game where I looked down the field, there were 3 true freshmen on the field. Now they're getting experience and all that, but I think when you look at the teams that are really good across the country, they got guys that are 4th, 5th year, 6th-year guys sometimes that are playing for their team. And if you're playing with a lot of high school kids, first year, you're going to be challenged. So I would say we got to get competition and depth at the offensive line. We got some good guys coming back, but we need more competition and depth at the offensive line position in the secondary. And then, we'd like to improve each position as well on maybe 1 or 2 players.
Kyle?
Yeah, me there. Hey, Troy, you mentioned the 11 mid-year transfers. Did something change for you to be able to bring in that many guys compared
Well,
to
we got to get them. We got to, we're working on that right now. So I don't want to, celebrate before we get past the goal line. But yes, I mean, it was a process that was, you got to keep in mind that Stanford for forever didn't bring in mid-years at all, right? So that changed with high school athletes, 3 years ago or so. And it's been a big success. These guys have done really well in school, and our graduation rate's still, really high, 97%. So that's been good. And then now with the way mid-year transfers work with undergrads and grads, the process just has to speed up. It's incredibly fast how things turn around. Guys get in the transfer portal. Some of them can get in now, depending on the level of football and if they're graduate. They're going to be graduate transfers besides those, they have to wait till December 9th. So the process is you got to be able to evaluate them, make sure that they, physically and what their skill set is, then find out and get their transcript for us if they're a good enough student to get in. And then there's a whole recruitment thing. And this thing takes place in like 24 to 48-hour period. And we weren't necessarily designed for that because we had never done it before. So I feel real movement in working with us and being able to expedite the process. Again, not compromise the process at all, but just expedite the process so that we can compete on some of these outstanding students that would like to come to Stanford. Because like as we talked about at the beginning, we do have some advantages, but we got to be able to move fast in this world. And I'm really thinking that Andrew Luck's going to help us with that. And I feel that the university understands the importance of how quickly we can transform our roster and change it in a short period of time while still maintaining the growth and development of high school athletes. And then, so that's what I'm really excited about.
I guess I have a question about then, like the evaluation process from an academic standpoint. Obviously, if it's a high school kid, it's all you're just evaluating high school academics. But say someone's like just finished their freshman year of college, like what does the university then need to see on the transcript? Is it a combination of what they've done as a college student, or is there some high school stuff that has to be factored into that as well?
Really, really good question. So the kind of the short answer is you've got to be, if you've been in college, you need to have been an outstanding student in college. The closer you are from your high school experience, then that plays a role as well. So they want to see that you've done well in high school and that you are excelling in college. Now, if you're in your 3rd year of college or you've graduated from college, then although the high school experience is still a factor, it's less of a factor because you've shown that that you can be a successful college student. So both important. The younger players, really important at the high school level, and then as you move forward. But the bottom line is they've got to be really good students. Anytime they've whether it's high school or college, and they've got to feel like that school's important and that they've excelled, and that they really want to be here at Stanford.
And sorry, last one here, just to kind of tie a bow on this.
Yep.
As you're kind of having these conversations with high school kids now, and say someone's close academically, but they're not quite there, are you saying, hey, like, this doesn't mean it's over? Like, if it doesn't work out for you somewhere else, let's, not put an end to this, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
How you have to recruit.
Yeah, we try to stay in the moment. I certainly don't want a student athlete thinking about a backup plan as they embark on their college future. But you certainly, it'd be naive to not realize that, a lot of student athletes leave wherever they're going to after a year or two for whatever reason. So we definitely remember the guys that were either got in school or close to getting in school because they were outstanding students. And if they ever go in the transfer portal, because it is something that happens quite often now, at least you have the background information on them you built a relationship, right? If they do enter the portal, and you also know that that they're an outstanding student.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kyle. Ben?
Yeah, kind of two guys I want to get your thoughts on. Just kind of John Anthony Hall, we think he's going to bring at the wide receiver spot, and then also London Baronis, kind of rare to sign a freshman kicker. Those two guys.
Yeah. John Anthony Hall, really skilled wide receiver, great hands, great body control, really loves football. Super excited about him. He's a guy that is a big time recruit that we were able he chose us in the end, but a really spectacular player. And then London is, we obviously have a really good kicker in Emmett Kenny, but when the opportunity to bring in who we felt was the top kicker in the country, and have two kickers on the roster, we felt he was so good that it was worth it. So we feel like we're in really good shape for the present, and then the future looks really bright. So we've always had great specialists here at Stanford, and we believe that London's going to continue that trend.
Thank you, Ben. John?
Coach, back to the question. I read, I want to say in the last 10 days or so, comments from the president about football, and certainly I witnessed firsthand, and you did from a distance, what football did for the university as a whole over the last 15 years, early part of the last decade. Andrew was part of it, Christian and whatnot. Can you talk about your role a little bit in trying to not move the ball forward, but President sort of affirmed things a lot of people have been talking sort of behind the scenes about Stanford evolving without compromising, modernizing. Can you share what your role has been in that, what you've learned about that, how hard it is?
Yeah,
what you
for
choose to share
sure.
about it.
Yeah, super excited about President Levin being our leader. I've had a number of opportunities to sit down and talk with him. It's really clear that he loves Stanford, obviously being a Stanford man. He values intercollegiate athletics and really loves football and wants us to be successful. Now, those things are all really easy to say, but what I'll say about President Levin is he understands the landscape. He's obviously done research. He understands the complexity. He's a brilliant guy, and he wants us to be successful. So I have all the confidence in the world that moving forward, he'll make great decisions for our university and specifically our football program. And I think, honestly, and the Andrew Luck decision was a sign of how smart he is and how important football is. So super excited about that move. I think it really shows the direction of our program. I can't wait to work with Andrew, and I can't wait to continue to work with President Levin. I got a lot of confidence in both of those guys, and I really feel like this is a major fork in the road for Stanford, where we have chosen to really make a directional step towards doing what it takes to be great in football while maintaining our incredible academic legacy. So I'm really optimistic and wake up every day fired up. I get to work with those two guys.
Thank you, Jackson.
You guys announced the offensive lineman Zach, who committed even before you got here. Could you share a bit about just the timeline with him and kind of where he comes in, if he's ready to compete right away, or if it's kind of a process to get back into things?
Yeah, I think it is. He's gone on a mission, and he's going to be returning. He hasn't got returned yet, but we felt strongly that we wanted to keep our commitment to him. He felt that was an important thing to do, and we support him in going to a mission. I know when I first talked with him, he was really worried that we weren't going to honor that commitment if he went on a mission. And of course we would. We want him that's important to the young man and his family. And so we're excited to get him back now. I spent some time at Utah where a number of players would go on missions, and there's an adjustment period for sure when you come back. I will say this, they have a definitely unique and mature outlook on life when they come back in a different perspective. So I've enjoyed those guys when they've come back on missions. I worked with Britt Covey, who had come back from a mission, and he was able to transition quickly into contributing. And we're hopeful that Zach will as well. Now, obviously, you're not training at the level that you would train if you were back home in high school or whatever. So there'll be a transition, but we're really excited about him.
And I know you're on a mission, it sounds like, to get some O-linemen in that are a little older, but are there some of these freshmen that may be able to do what some of the previous freshmen have done?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, we want to really limit the amount that a true freshman has to play at that position. I think what House did was Khalil House did was extraordinary this year, but it's not the optimal situation to put a true freshman in that situation where they're kind of trial by fire. These are grown men that they're playing against, and that have developed in the weight room and nutrition wise and mentality, all those things. So really, I mean, the ideal situation, and when Stanford's been really good around here, is when offensive linemen have been allowed to mature a little bit, get their feet underneath them, get strength. And so that's really what, bringing in some mid-year guys is why it is so crucial that we have some guys that have matured and strength-wise and mentality-wise, that they can come in and compete and possibly earn a starting job. Obviously, everybody has to earn it, and then allow freshmen that can come in and compete right away for sure, but have some older guys that are able to help us compete, right now, because we're focused on going to a bowl game next year, and that's the goal. And so we need guys that can come in and contribute and give us depth.
Ben?
Yeah, I just kind of want to get your thoughts on how well you feel you've addressed. Obviously, your pass rush was great this year, but you guys, signed a couple of guys in Cole Breiler and Landon McComber. Just talk about kind of how you feel the pass rush might improve as a result of this class.
And, yeah, those guys, and then Newsy as well, and then the outside linebackers we feel good about. Yeah, I think again, this is the class that we've spent 2 years on, and been able to really evaluate them and develop those relationships. We need to get better at every position for sure. There are some immediate needs that are more important at different positions for sure, like I've already mentioned. But we got to get better at every single position if we want to compete at the level that we want to. So. We're focusing certainly on bringing in some mid-year guys that can help immediately at certain positions, but the youth and continuing to really be deliberate and thorough and relentless in recruiting and bringing in the right guys that are, may not have an immediate impact in a year, but in 2 years, and they'll really continue to help the program grow and be able to prosper.
Any other questions for Coach?
Awesome. Thank you.